there's something about sewing and quilting that we just have so many things that require storage. And sometimes it's hard to figure out what is the best way to store threads, bobbins, needles, pins, fabric, you name it. Well, today I'd like to give you some tips for bobbin storage that I found to be very effective. These are two very popular options that I found. Now this one is a little big. It's a rubber ring. Let me take these out and show you. It's a flexible rubber ring that you can put your bobbins in, and they come in different sizes. And unfortunately, the only bobbins I had with me were standard sewing machine bobbins, the size L bobbins, but this is made for the M size bobbins that long arm quilters use, or that you may find in a lot of commercial machines. But they fit in and they're nice and snug, and it's very easy to see what you have, and it stores nicely in a drawer. So I've got a couple of these, and I do like them. Probably the one that I like best though is the plastic box, and the reason I like this is, as a long arm quilter who quilts professionally, I have probably a dozen of these boxes that are filled with bobbin threads. So I have a lot of thread that I need to store. With the plastic lid on it, it keeps the dust out because I have them out on a baker's rack shelf so I can get to them easily. And so this way my threads don't get dusty, and I can see at a glance which ones I need. I also, on the very edge of the box, because I have them on a shelf, I go ahead and put what type of thread it is so that all of my bobbins in there are of the same thread, so that it's easy to pull it with the matching top thread. So these will fit either M or L bobbins, and I find that this is a wonderful, wonderful storage media for your bobbins. And once the lid is on, they don't fall out, where this they may fall out. A couple of other ideas though that I like. I have seen where you can get one of the small thread holders. It's a little wooden rack that goes on the wall, and it has little spindles on it. And that is another great option for holding your bobbins if you do a lot of bobbin work, especially if you're a long arm quilter, or any kind of quilter for that matter. It works very, very well. It's also a good place to store pre-wound colored bobbins. It's just a nice option. And you can, if you want, make a little cover to go over it, either out of plastic or fabric, so that dust does not get on that unit, or keep it, I like to keep it on the door inside a closet, and then get my bobbins that way. Another thing I like to do is I love to pre-wind bobbins. I hate winding bobbins, so I will have a bobbin winding session with my standalone bobbin winder, and I will usually do at least 8 to 10, maybe 12 bobbins, typically for when I'm piecing a quilt. I do them in light gray, and I do them in a cream color, and that usually meets most of my needs, either that or a dark gray if I'm doing dark fabrics. So I will wind them up and put them in old medicine bottles, and then when I'm ready, I just reach in and they're good to go. It's also handy because I do a lot of quilting on the go. When we go camping, I take my sewing machine with me, and I'm doing piecing, and so it's easy to just grab my little medicine bottle to put the bobbins in. I also, if I don't have a medicine bottle, now I like the medicine bottle because it's clear and you can see the color, but I've also been known to use old thread tea cans, the canisters that tea come in, or any kind of little metal canisters work great. There's also some tea that comes in little wooden boxes, and the lid slides back and forth, and I've used those too. So sometimes we just need to be a little bit bit creative. We don't always have to spend a lot of money, but these are some wonderful ways to store your bobbins. And especially if you have metal bobbins, you want to store them with care. And that's another reason why I like this particular system, because you don't want your bobbins to get dented or out of shape, because then you won't get the proper stitch quality. So again, I hope this will give you some good ideas, and just be creative and you'll be surprised what you'll come up with for taking care of your bobbins.